My name is Kelly, and I have an unhealthy obsession with serial killers.
Surprise!
You were expecting to see Kelly. Well, I guess see and hear Kelly, but she had to take the month off. So instead of passing up on BTK, I decided to step in, and I had to coax Abby, my wife, into it as well. So I forget what Kelly says. It's something like, welcome to the podcast. We have big size killers and bite-sized bits. So let's get into it.
Let's get into it.
Are you excited?
I'm so excited.
Do you even care about serial killers?
I don't even know who we're talking about.
Yeah, I didn't want to tell you. I didn't tell Abby who we were talking about. Most of the time, Kelly doesn't tell me who we're talking about. She just starts talking. But see, here's the difference. Kelly has all this stuff committed to memory.
Oh.
I do not.
I watched the Ted Bundy movie.
You watched the Ted Bundy movie. How'd you feel about... Well, we just talked about Ted Bundy, so how'd you feel about that?
I liked the movie.
You liked the movie. How do you feel about Ted Bundy? Do you think he's dreamy just like everybody else?
No.
Do you think Zac Efron's dreamy?
Yes.
Yes? Okay. So this week, I lost it all. I had it. I did my research.
You did.
Yeah, so the first person that we would talk about, it's kind of themed around Ohio. This guy was only born in Ohio, I found out after I did all the research. So let's get into the first guy. Gary Heidnik. If I told you that there is a man that lived around here that started his own church and he had a group of people that met every Sunday to worship the Bible.
Okay.
What would you think about him?
I think he was a normal guy.
He was a normal guy. Would you think he was a serial killer and a rapist?
See, those are the best ones.
Those are the best ones. Okay.
I guess best ones is probably the wrong choice of words.
So I found a guy named Gary Heidnik. He was born November 22nd, 1943. He ended up becoming the inspiration for Buffalo Bill in Silence of the Lambs.
I like that movie.
Yeah, so in that movie, Buffalo Bill was famous for kidnapping and torturing women. He kept them in his basement and all that. He was born in Ohio, and it was found out that his father mentally abused him. He made fun of him, and I guess he wet the bed a lot, and his dad made him take his underwear and hang it outside so all the neighbors could see that he wet the bed and embarrass him. Yeah, I mean...
Because he was scared of his dad.
Everybody wets the bed, right?
Everybody wets the bed.
Did you wet the bed? Or do you not want to talk about it?
I don't know if I wet the bed.
I think I did it once or twice, that I can remember.
You can remember wetting the bed?
I think I can remember my mom getting mad that she had to do laundry in the middle of the night.
Well, if I did, then it must have been when I was really young.
Okay. So yeah, I was reading too that in school, no one was his friend, which always gets my heartstrings. But he was very angry. Like if someone talked to him, he would yell at them not to talk to him. And at one point it was recorded that he told some girl that she was not worthy to talk to him. So that is the same time. I feel bad for him. He had no friends, but also kind of made it hard to have friends.
Yeah, not approachable.
No, he eventually joined the Army after high school. He was discharged early, though, because the doctor said he had schizoid personality disorder.
Schizoid? I've never heard of that.
Yeah, I don't know what that means. But then he moved to Philadelphia. And he started a church in 1971. He had a $1,500 investment, and he eventually, I think it started with 5 people that came to his church. He grew it to over 50, and he ended up making $500,000 from this church. And
that's
the thing
a lot
that
in 71.
Yeah, well, they said that it's equivalent to like over $1 million now. The thing that everybody said was that he was able to get people to do what he said. He was able to get people to listen to him in the church.
So he had that draw to him.
Yeah. He during this time, though, he did have a foreign bride that he talked to through mail. I guess a mail order bride kind of type thing. Okay. She ended up coming to the U.S. and he raped her. And he ended up getting charged for raping her. But when he raped her, he got her pregnant. And he also did this to 2 other women. But he was only married to the one. So while he was building the church, he was already in jail. or going back and forth between jail, I guess. So he already had things wrong with him. Things were starting to build.
But he had people following him, but he's in jail for raping. And
I don't
following him?
Yeah, I don't know if they knew that.
Oh, okay.
He might have kept that separate. So when he started kidnapping women, it was always prostitutes. And the first woman that he ever kidnapped was named, I'm guessing Josefina Riviera. I think I'm saying that right. I don't know. But what he would do is he would hire them. He would go through and he would actually have sex with them. Okay. So, and then after they were done, he would basically come up behind them and choke them, and then drag them down to the basement and handcuff them in the basement. His basement. He did this to 6 women over a 3-month period and kept them in the basement.
3 months together?
Yeah. So the first person that he kidnapped, Josefina, ended up becoming smarter about everything, and she played the game and started becoming nice to him. Mm-hmm. And
that's what I would do.
Yeah, going with him and doing whatever he said, and she built trust up with him. And she ended up Gary ended up putting her in charge and watching over the other women, and what that did was gave her benefits so she could have, I guess one of the things she said was that she got like a hot dog one time instead of the crap food that they usually got. So she was kind of figuring everything out. She wasn't really on his side, but she wanted at least to, make him think that she was. And Gary would give the women things to do, and if they disappointed Gary, in his mind, he would punish them. One such report was that he wrapped duct tape around their mouths and shoved a screwdriver in their ear.
That's terrible.
Oh, it's just think about it. Hold on.
I mean, all of it's terrible, but...
You can't talk, you can't breathe, and then a screwdriver is getting shoved in your ear slowly.
I wonder if it makes the same sound as if you're getting your nose pierced.
What, that you eventually have to pop through something? Is that what you're talking about?
No, there's a pop when you get your nose pierced.
Yeah, so if you stick
if it's like there's a pop. I wonder what the sound is, or if it's so much pain. Sorry,
I think that I think you have to pass out or die. I don't know.
Can you die from that? I mean, would there be a lot of blood?
I don't know. I'm never going to find out or try. So there's torture like that. Riviera actually said that at one point she helped electrocute one of the girls to death. There was like a pot or like a little area down in the basement where he could fill water a hole or something. I don't know. I can't think. Why can't I think of simple words? But yeah, the water could.
We both did this.
The water could collect, and they put water in there, and then he ended up, putting like some type of electrical wire into it, and he did enough until she died. Now here's the big one, and I see you already reading ahead. So one of the girls upset him and disappointed him. So what he did was he killed the woman, took her upstairs, cut her into
another woman, or the one they electrocuted.
Yeah, or maybe she was the one that was electrocuted. I don't know. I'm not going to go back into the research. Sorry. He cut her into pieces and cooked her ribs.
Oh my gosh!
Boiled just her severed head. Put her legs and her arms in the freezer for later and labeled it dog food. The cops were called because of a neighbor, because of the smell.
It's always the smell.
He answered the door, smiled, looked at the cop, and said, "Sorry, I was making a roast beef. I must have fallen asleep and burned it." Cop left. Cop left.
But it's always a smell.
It's always a smell. Now, here's the thing I was thinking about. If you're cooking a freshly dead body, freshly dead anything, animal, human, would it smell?
It probably wasn't taken care of.
We're just meat. So if you killed me right now,
if she was malnourished and she wasn't clean, I'm wondering if maybe her skin was probably well taken care of. That maybe her body was already breaking down from all the abuse, and probably
she was already rotting from the inside.
I was going to say that, but that sounded a little too much like.
No. I mean, I guess it makes sense. I was just thinking, like, if you killed me right now,
well, you're right. Yes.
And decided to cook me, I wouldn't smell. I wouldn't be rotten.
But I wouldn't. So the thing is it's flesh. So I think it's a different smell to other people because most people don't cook human. And so it would be an odd smell. But the thing is I would be like, well, let me investigate because what was it? Roast, what was it?
I think it was roast beef.
Roast beef smells
or
good.
Some type of pot roast. I don't know. Yeah.
You would think you would still inquire.
Yeah. I don't know. But so yeah, what got me was the severed head being boiled. So then what happened here was that the first girl I talked about, Riviera, which I still hope I'm saying that right, ended up escaping. And there are multiple videos online of her interview. They interviewed her when she got out. So what she did was somehow she convinced Gary to let her out to speak with her family, like meet in a parking lot. Gary, for some reason, said yes. If I was keeping a bunch of girls in a basement,
but
I wouldn't let these girls out alone. Yeah, so they had built up some trust. He let her out. He said he would stay in the parking lot and watch her. And at some point, she was able to sneak away around a corner, had the payphone, called the cops. The cops came instantly. So,
of course.
He was convicted in July of 1988 and sentenced to death. Now, here's the crazy thing watching the Ted Bundy thing. The thing I don't get. He was not killed in prison. He was given
10 years, right?
Yeah, he was given lethal injection. Why does it take 10 years?
Because you have all the appeals.
Okay.
So you have to say, because what if he was innocent?
Yes.
Then you have to give him all of the opportunities to plead his case again. Now, if there is this is what I don't get, but if there was so much evidence against him, then I wouldn't see how you could have those appeals. I don't know law, but but I don't know if that's what happened or not.
That is a good point, though, because the story I told you about cooking I didn't even tell you. After he boiled the head and the ribs, he made the other girls eat the girl. Yeah, I didn't write that down in the notes.
That would psychologically mess with you.
So, but here's the problem, what you just said. There have been reports, too, that there was no evidence found when they went to check the house. There was no evidence found of...
So where are the girls?
I think they just got out. The only one I could really find a lot about is the Riviera girl, because she went on camera. I'm guessing the other girls, whoever was alive, they were let go. Kind of like those girls in Cleveland, like they just went on and lived their life.
No, I'm saying, you said there was no evidence. Were there still girls?
Oh, sorry. No, I hadn't finished yet. There's no evidence.
I'm so sorry.
There's no evidence of a body being cooked.
Okay.
So
there's evidence that there was girls there and they were kidnapped.
There's no evidence of the body being cooked, so therefore people are saying that was made up so that he could plead insanity. That never happened. I want to choose that I don't want to believe it happened because it's still terrible, but like it makes it sound crazier.
It's crazy.
So that's what I got on Gary Heidnik of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, born in Ohio. In Ohio. So there's one. There's a lot of serial killers from Ohio, I found out.
Ooh.
The Cleveland Toro Murderer. So I have a question for you.
Okay.
What would scare you more? Knowing that there's a serial killer around our neighborhood.
Like living that we don't know?
Yeah, like right now people are dying.
Okay.
And he got caught, and seeing that guy or that person and knowing that they've been caught. Or there's a serial killer around our neighborhood that no one's been killed in the past, let's say 10 years. I just made up a number.
Okay.
Never been found.
But he hasn't killed in 10 years?
Yeah, but you never know. It's the same as like BTK. BTK would take like 10 years off. And then all of a sudden there'd be another person dead.
I don't know.
Well, from 1935 to 1938, there was a murderer that ran around the Cleveland area, kidnapping prostitutes and hobos. I don't know. I figure the prostitutes and the hobo thing, I don't know how to not sound rude saying this, but no one's going to notice that they're gone. So no one's going to be looking for them, as opposed to breaking into somebody's house and kidnapping a child or kidnapping a mother,
Okay.
So,
and hobos?
Yeah.
That was when you looked that up, it said hobos?
It said hobos, so I guess homeless people. I don't know. And they would kill these two groups of people, and it was one of the biggest stories and most heinous act in the northern Ohio region.
In the 30s?
Late 30s. Okay. It happened in the Cleveland, Cuyahoga area.
Oh.
Which I still don't know where that is. I don't know if Cuyahoga is one area in Cleveland. I know we've been to both.
I was going to say, I remember seeing signs.
But sometimes it's the same thing. I don't know. So, the Cleveland Toro Murderer killed 13 people and disposed of their bodies, or more their torsos. Let me say it again because I fucked it up. Or more their torsos in a creek that runs into the Cuyahoga River.
Okay.
So, yeah, the cops found all the bodies in like this big stack.
Like in the water?
Yeah.
Oh, that gave me goosebumps.
The bodies, they were missing their heads, and some were missing limbs. So there's just a bunch of headless bodies in the river. And I looked it up and I found these photos of these masks that they had to make to identify the people.
Why did they need masks?
Which I didn't get. I didn't read too much because I want to talk to you about that. I don't know if it's because they want to be buried with a head, like maybe if you go to a funeral and you see.
But you don't talk to that with your significant other or your family.
What do you mean?
If I'm dismembered, make sure that I have a head.
Well, you just close the casket. Now, the other thing I saw was as they were identifying the bodies and trying to figure out who these people were, they put in these face masks. Like they look like paper mache masks, which is even creepier.
Maybe,
thinking about a real person's body with a paper mache mask just.
Do you think maybe that helps somebody's coping skills to investigating this?
Maybe this is something I have to look up more and figure out why they made these paper masks, but it seemed to be a big thing in the articles I was reading. Okay. So when this first happened and the cops were investigating, they dubbed the killer the Mad Butcher of Kingsbury, or Kingsbury Run. Sorry, that's I guess that's the area where they found the bodies. It's known as Kingsbury Run.
Okay.
The interesting note about this case was that when they couldn't figure anything out, they ended up not calling in, but I guess Elliot Ness ended up taking over the case and the investigation. Do you know who Elliot Ness is?
No.
I know him for a couple rap songs. His name is mentioned, but he is the guy that.
Oh, he's not a rapper. He was in.
No. This is the 30s. No. It's just rappers mention him.
There was rappers in the 30s.
Yeah, he was. He was famous for trying to stop the runners for Prohibition.
Okay.
To stop the people that were bringing in alcohol illegally. So, so he came in to try to figure out who the Toro Murderer was. Okay. There were other murders outside of Cleveland in Pittsburgh. If they are connected, if it's the same guy, that means that he would have 20 victims in all. But they never connected the two to say that the same guy that killed the people in Cleveland killed the people in.
But there was enough similarities?
I guess, yeah. I kind of stopped caring about reading about that because it took place out of Ohio, which kind of negates the first part of this because we talked about a dude that killed women in
Pennsylvania.
Yeah, which now that I'm thinking about it, I might sound dumb. To be known as a serial killer, you have to kill a certain amount of people. So that guy that we talked about earlier, Gary, he must have killed those other women. There's no way he got away with just killing 2 people. But maybe he's known as a serial killer because of what he did to these women. It's so fucked up that.
Yeah.
But,
I think if you did cook somebody, that would.
I was able to find a letter that was sent to the Cleveland police because. Oh yeah, so that's the other thing. There were kills in Pennsylvania and California that could be linked to it, and this is and I found this letter. It was sent to the Cleveland Police Department in December of 1938, a couple months after the 13 people were found.
Okay.
And this is what makes me. This is what makes me think about it because it's sent from California. So let me read it to you. Chief of Police Matowitz, I'm guessing is how you say it. You can rest easy now, as I have came out to sunny California for the winter. I felt bad operating on those people, but science must advance. I shall soon astound the medical profession. A man with only a DC, which what is that? A doctorate? I don't know what ADC means.
A man with only a DC. Mm-hmm. That makes really no sense.
Okay.
I mean, a doctor was MD, didn't it?
Yeah. What did their lives mean in comparison to hundreds of sick and disease-twisted bodies? Just laboratory guinea pigs found on any public street. No one missed them when I failed. My last case was successful. I now know the feeling... I don't even know what that word... I now know the feeling of some made-up word and other pioneers. I'm guessing that's a name. That's what that is.
Ooh.
So I will say, I now know the feeling of other pioneers. Right now, I have a volunteer who will absolutely prove my theory. They called me mad and a butcherer, but the truth will out. I'm guessing he meant to write the truth will win out. I don't know. I have failed, but once here, the boy has not been found and never will.
Ooh.
Or the boy was never found, but never. Oh shit! I'm messing this all up. Sorry. I have failed, but once here, the body has not been found and never will be. But the hand minus features is buried in a gully on the Century Boulevard between Western and Central Crenshaw. I feel it is my duty to dispose of the bodies I do. It is God's will and not to let them suffer.
Do you know why you're having a hard time reading this? Because he's crazy.
So this guy thought he was doing something good.
So he was basically thinking that these women were not going to be missed, and he was going to do tests or studies to see if whatever his theories were for help the medical profession, and all of them went bad.
So in his head it was okay.
Because he was going to discover something, some cure.
But here's the weird thing. If you think something's okay because no one will be missed, one, that's your decision.
Why would you dump it?
Two, why would you kill somebody and then run away? You know what you're doing is wrong.
Well, no, I think he knew what he was doing wrong. I think it was more of he thought it was right, but he realized society wouldn't think that way. But that if he cured cancer,
it would be fine.
It would be fine. Like, oh, yeah, but look what he did.
Yeah.
And so even if he would go to jail, he would be in history of he cured cancer.
Okay, fine.
I mean, is it right? No. But I think in his brain, that obviously we could see by this letter, he's just...
He's crazy.
He's crazy.
I hope they found the boy. I didn't look that up.
You didn't look that up?
No. Kelly's a lot better at this stuff than me.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else to say?
No. It's been fun.
So yeah, short and sweet like always. Kelly will be back next time. And that's it. I don't have anything to say. Abby, give him a punchline or tagline.
Goodbye.